Ain't nobody got time for that. With this room though, you will. Hey guys, MasakoX here, and today's topic is all about time. Time is crucial in Dragon Ball. We have time skips, times to charge attacks, times to fuse, and then time for Namek not to blow up. Yeah, that was a bit of a slog, wasn't it? However, there is one particular place in that world where time is not an issue. I am talking about the Room of Spirit and Time, or the Hyperbolic Time Chamber, depending on where you're based. Thanks to Bashir Arko on Twitter for suggesting this topic. I really had a lot of fun researching this one. Let's take our minds back to the times of the Cell Saga. Cell had just attained its perfect form. The Cell games had been announced. Our heroes have only 10 days in which to prepare for the upcoming tournament that decides the fate of the Earth. You're on the ropes, and you have no idea what to do. Cell is just too powerful. He cannot be matched by anyone in the Z Warriors. Thanks, Vegeta. Our heroes are between a rock and a hard place, but then suddenly, a glimmer of hope comes to light. There is a room up on the lookout which can help you train in a fraction of the time. All to do with pseudoscience, time, mysticism, and all that wobbly-wibbly genius time science fiction mumbo-jumbo. Other type of hyperboles. And hyperboles is all about hyperbolic time chamber. Good segue there. Yeah. Now, the Room of Spirit and Time itself, you could say, was introduced as a sort of retcon. It is sort of one, because Goku tells of the time while he was training with Kami back in Dragon Ball. There was a good period of time between us seeing Goku as a kid and Goku as an adult, where he was training up on the lookout. He implies that he spent a little bit of time in the Room of Spirit and Time, on his own, and that didn't go well. He could only survive a month inside that room before needing to escape, out of the risk of going insane. Don't worry if you don't remember that scene in the original Dragon Ball, it's okay. It's just mentioned off screen. It's a sort of like, oh yeah, I remember that time. I almost died. Whoa, wait, Masako. Okay, you're getting into the nuances here. How does this chamber work exactly? Well, my first answer would be, it's a kid's show, and it's not really physically possible, unfortunately. But if you really wanted an answer, I could just say timey-wimey stuff and then be done with it, and then you'll know that I'm a Doctor Who fan. What the room is, essentially, is a time dilator. If you do the maths, then it means 1 second here, 6 minutes inside there. This probably implies, if you do the calculations right, that Goku only spent a couple of real-world hours inside the chamber. What? Now don't be so quick to judge though. There are some caveats to using this room. At the time of Z and the Cell games, you really could not abuse this room. It's not something to be taken lightly. Now according to Piccolo, who had just fused with Kami, a person can only spend 48 real-world hours inside the Room of Spirit and Time. Not to do with anything fantastical saying, you'll die, or it'll be really, really uncomfortable, or there's not enough supplies in there. No, it's nothing to do with that. It's just down to the teeny little drawback that the door will basically disappear and you will be trapped in there forever and no one will be able to come in and rescue you. That is unless you're either Super Boo or Gotenks and you can just escape that dimension by screaming really loudly. Luckily though, Dende, since he became the Guardian of Earth after Kami, has removed such restrictions. You can now spend as much time as you want, and Goku and Vegeta have abused that oh so maliciously. In Dragon Ball Super, Goku and Vegeta have spent more than 3 years inside the chamber, 6 months more for Vegeta, and then he blew it up. Good thing Dende's so good with DIY. So in a way, you could say that all the mystique and danger of the Room of Spirit and Time in Z has now been completely broken by Super. Need to train in a pinch? I'll just go inside the chamber. Nothing bad will happen, you'll be fine. Also, you might want to bring a training partner in there or else you go a little loopy. In fact, one of my favourite moments in the entire history of Dragon Ball occurred in the Room of Spirit and Time. It is that period of time when Goku and Gohan are training in preparation for the Cell games. This is the first time that Goku and Gohan have trained on their own. No Piccolo to watch over them, it's just the two of them. Over the course of these episodes, their relationship grows and grows and grows. They truly connect, not with their fists, but with their heart and souls. And it all comes to a head when Gohan insists to his father that he launch a Kamehameha full blast at him at the risk of killing him. It's the only way he's gonna get stronger. Goku had been acting really softly with Gohan at the risk that he might hurt his son, or Chi-Chi might get a little bit mad. Piccolo and Gohan, while they were training, did not have that restriction. Piccolo was going all out, and so Gohan wants the same from Goku. Gohan pushed his father to the limit, and in doing so, he conquered the Super Saiyan form and then knocked on the door of Super Saiyan 2 within the space of a year. That is remarkable. That is remarkable focus, concentration, and dedication, and they were able to do that together as a team. And that was just so heartwarming. And when you think about it, when Vegeta and Trunks spent that time in the room, they gained a sort of clarity, but in a wholly different way. There was no teamwork here, they were just in there to kill Cell, simple as that. I mean, the chamber can help you with that, but you're not gonna build any relationships that way. Vegeta was very adamant that they just stay apart. And before we saw Goku and Gohan go in, it really implied that the Room of Spirit and Time was just really bad, that nothing good can happen of that except you getting stronger. Now let's take a step back and look at the chamber itself. Its composition, its structure. How does it look? It's quite easy really, it's just nothing. Nothing upon nothing upon nothing. Just a wide expanse of blankness. All except for one temple right in the middle, which is mostly composed of clock-based mechanics and structures. No books or internet. It's like a deprivation tank. All external stimuli ceases. Day and night cycle ceases. Your entire body clock is completely turned on its head. You have no way to actually interact with other people unless you have someone with you. And really, that is just a place where you just have to focus on yourself. And then you have to contend with 10 times Earth gravity. Goku and Vegeta can handle this because they're experienced with gravity training. Gohan and Trunks, not so much. It takes a while for them to cope with it. It's almost like an immediate signifier. Train or die. Succeed or fail. Grow stronger or buckle. Your call. It's also about eschewing mortal possessions and concepts and instead bringing everything inside and focusing on your mind and body. Which is what Buddhism excels in, and Dragon Ball is very much about getting inspired from Eastern culture. This is just another example. Taking everything down to a single point and then concentrating into something way more refined and then becoming more powerful than ever before. Diluting your consciousness and then refining it into something truly remarkable which you can then use against your enemies. Which is what we see with Gohan especially. Strong example of how much motivation is the driving force of Dragon Ball, and in particular, the Room of Spirit and Time. Now imagine being Goku right there. How proud would you be? Such a hostile environment where on the surface it looks completely placid, but when you actually look at it, it is a dangerous place. But Gohan was able to achieve the impossible at the time. If your mind is weak, the room is going to consume you. And Trunks was very prone to that at the beginning, but Vegeta, he knew exactly what to do. He knew how to train by himself. He got this. The room did not intimidate him. Okay, we're getting a little bit spiritual there. Let's bring this back in towards Toriyama and how he might have conjured up the idea of the Hyperbolic Time Chamber or the Room of Spirit and Time. You can chalk up most of the inspiration from Eastern mysticism and culture because that is a driving force in Dragon Ball and most anime in general. But honestly, I imagine also that Toriyama thought this room up as a means of plot convenience. And when you look back on his previous works, it is very easy to see that Toriyama is all about convenience. If he doesn't want to write a long-winded explanation or be constantly asked by fans and enthusiasts how this thing exactly works, just create a MacGuffin and it'll all be done. And it's been seen many times. Hoi Poi capsules, Super Saiyans, instant transmission, time travel, and the Room of Spirit and Time, to name a few. They have all been conveniences that have helped the characters and given Toriyama less of a headache. With this ultimate training convenience, our heroes were able to give Cell a much harder run for his money during the Cell games, and therefore provided us with much more entertainment. Let's focus on one of the biggest points of contention in the English Dragon Ball community. The name of the room. It is the Room of Spirit and Time because that's what it's called in the Japanese dub. But how did Funimation even come up with the name Hyperbolic Time Chamber? I mean, I get the time chamber bit because it is a chamber which plays with time. That bit I get. But the hyperbolic part? What? I mean, when you look at the word hyperbolic, it has two meanings. First off, as a word that describes exaggerating something deliberately, like saying, "Oh my god, this muffin is the best muffin in the history of man!" Or a math phenomena known as a hyperbola. A hyperbola is two or more lines drawn on a flat surface which do not cross. What does this have to do with time? Can someone in the comments help me with this? But if you then look at the word more carefully and replace hyperbolic with hyperbole, time is exaggerated in relation to the outside world, but it just doesn't sit well with me in terms of grammar. Now, if you remove the bolic part and stick with hyper, you'll get the hyper time chamber. Okay, that's a little better, but it doesn't really flow well off the tongue. Why don't you just stick with the Room of Spirit and Time moniker? Oh, okay. Yep, now I get it. Spirit. Standards and practices of the day, eh? Mentioning spirit, religion, not really cool with the TV networks at the time. And really, there's no point changing it for the new dubs because that would just cause confusion. So we're kind of stuck with the Hyperbolic Time Chamber just to keep things consistent. So I think we're not going to win that battle, my friends. In the end, the Room of Spirit and Time represents one of Dragon Ball's core themes, motivation. If you didn't motivate yourself to be stronger than your opponent, then you would end up losing or dying, or more frequently, both. It was the ultimate reset button for Gohan and Trunks' characters. It realigned them in the fight against Cell and gave them the determination to succeed and grow stronger than ever before, both physically and mentally. And the room itself was a very enticing and deep plot device which was not meant to be trifled with or taken lightly. But nowadays it's been oversimplified and now it's just a convenience for people if they don't have the time to train. Yeah, okay. Yeah, that's one thing I think Super's done wrong. So what do you guys think? Which name do you prefer for this remarkable room? Do you think it's too easy to use these days? Leave a comment below and let's get this discussion going. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. And until the next one, be sure to like and subscribe. Catch you later.